I'm Annie Kritcher. I'm a team lead and a group leader in the Inertial Confinement Fusion program at the Lawrence Livermore National Lab, working in the National Ignition Facility. I grew up in Michigan, moved out to California for grad school to go to Berkeley, and stayed out here in the Bay Area ever since. Was drawn to the big laser system, which is the National Ignition Facility, and have been working here ever since. I don't know if you want personal information, but I also have 3 kids. They're 3, 6, and 8 now.
Oh, no, that was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And really enjoying the work and connecting with people about it. That's been really cool this last few years, especially.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And you have a really interesting career too. Can you tell me more about what you do?
Yeah, so in my job, what I try to do is try to figure out what it takes to generate energy from nuclear reactions. The nuclear reactions we're
Mhm.
doing here are fusion reactions. So fusion is when you smash 2 hydrogens together, and that reaction is a nuclear reaction that happens, and that generates helium and a bunch of extra energy. But it's really, really hard to get these reactions to happen because you need extreme temperatures. You need to be hotter than the center of the sun. You basically need to create star-like conditions. And and that can be really hard to do. So sometimes when you try to do that, you end up using more energy to do that than what you get out from the reactions. So what we're trying to do here is create a miniature sun in the laboratory. So we're trying to bring sun power to Earth, so that we can use the same energy and power that fuels our sun, not just the sunlight that comes from the sun, but actually what powers the sun. We want to do that on Earth and harness it in the laboratory. And so we're trying to do that in a way that's efficient so that we can generate more energy than what it takes to make this little star in the laboratory. And so what I do is I run computer simulations using really complex plasma physics simulation tools. And we have our physics theories, which we can help, because the tools aren't always, they don't always get things right. And so you have to look at your experiments and what they're telling you. And you have to also use basic theories. So trying to pull all that information together to figure out how to make these suns in the laboratory. And the basic idea is we're blasting targets with the biggest laser in the world to do that, to make these little suns in the laboratory. So my job is to try to figure out what target we want to shoot and how we want to shoot the laser to make that happen.
Wow. Wow. Sorry, the internet's
I can
buzzing
see,
a little. I
yeah,
hope
I
you
can
can
see
hear us
a
just
bit of a
fine.
lag. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me as well? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
now
hear
we
you
can
now.
hear you.
Okay. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
little bit of a lag.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's really interesting what you're doing. And yeah,
Yeah, it's very
Yes.
innovative.
Yeah.
So that's very nice to hear. And could you tell us more about your journey in physics and what inspired you to go into this field?
Yeah. So I really love problem solving and building things. And, I've always wanted to be an innovator, or an engineer. And so I grew up in Northern Michigan, and there was a lot of engineers. It's an engineering state. We had some really good engineering schools. And so I decided to go to the University of Michigan undergrad for engineering. And that's when I saw the nuclear engineering department. And it seemed like there was a lot of unsolved kind of big problems in nuclear engineering, like fusion research. And so the idea of having a really big puzzle that's unsolved that could have a lot of impact for humanity, that was the big appeal and the big draw, something to, a really big puzzle to keep me like excited and interested and, for a long time. I think the fact that fusion is basically the holy grail of energy. And it's really important to make progress in this area. So, it's a long-term thing, but every step we take, it gets us closer. And so I've just always been interested in kind of the big science, massive puzzle situations that could have high impact.
Wow.
Now, that's a really interesting journey that you have there, and you seem really passionate about what you're doing right now, so that's wonderful.
Yeah. And could you tell us what you like the most about what you do?
So I have to admit, blowing up targets with giant lasers is a pretty cool job description. I can't really complain. So the technical work is just, it's awesome. There's nowhere else in the world right now that you can do this sort of thing than the laboratory where I work. And so I'm really grateful to be working here. I think another really interesting aspect that I like about my work is that I get to work with so many really intelligent people and across a wide range of interdisciplinary fields. So when I'm designing an experiment, I work with the target fabrication material science people. We work with the laser engineers that develop the laser. We work with the experimentalists that develop the diagnostics. And so there's quite a bit of exposure to different areas of STEM that are really, really interesting. And I like that kind of nice collaborative team effort where we have to bring our own expertise to the table and make a big problem work.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. And finally, what is your advice to the next generation and to kids?
Yeah, so I guess advice, a big piece of advice, especially for people thinking about a STEM career, is there's a reason, if things aren't figured out yet, it's because it's hard, it's difficult, but it's worth sticking with it. And I think perseverance, keeping up your confidence, don't get discouraged, learn from, if you have failures, learn from them, figure out why something failed. Analyze it, use that to make the next step better, the next design or invention or experiment to make it better. So I think my advice is to stick with something and don't lose confidence, don't get discouraged, and just perseverance and hard work is really key.